right, so welcome. We are talking remote learning 101 with Classcraft. And right away, let me go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Kinshasa Msola Marshall, and I am the learning team specialist here at Classcraft. Previously, I was the director of instructional technology at a private school, and I join you here in Atlanta, Georgia, where it is not hot. It's actually a little cold, rainy, and dark. I have huge windows, and as you can see, they're not giving me a lot of light at all. And I also join you with another learning specialist, which is Andrew Hutchison, and we call him Hutch. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Hutch.
Hey everybody, I'm Hutch, and I taught middle and high school physical science classes for the last 16 years. And I am coming at you from Palm Coast, Florida, and it's a little warmer down here.
No one cares, Hutch.
Nobody cares.
So the first thing I want to see is welcome, and thank you so much for joining us. I know there are a ton of things that you have to do right now. Probably learning new software, learning new platforms, getting acquainted with this new world, I guess we have. So I want to make sure I first say thank you for joining us. And the question was already asked, and I'm going to go ahead and answer it again and let you know we are recording this. And so we will send you this recording and some resources. And I apologize, in about 1 to 2 days. So I apologize, it's not right away, but we kind of, make the video look a little bit polished for you. So what I want to do first is kind of jump right in and start with, well, let's say discussing kind of the elephant in the room and why we're here, what we're doing today. And basically it's because in light of what's going on in the world, education doesn't stop. Us educators, as teachers, we have to continue. We still have to shape the minds of tomorrow. We still have to teach those critical skills. We still have to have our students and make sure they're ready, they're ready for the future. And we have to teach them how to lead. So because education doesn't stop, of course, it brings about this new remote learning push. And there's nothing new with remote learning. I was doing that like 10 years ago. But of course, now it's a must. And unfortunately, this poses new concerns, right? New problems that we haven't even thought of, different types of questions that come up. And I would say the biggest is, how do we keep our students engaged? So in a regular classroom, it's hard already, especially if you have a lot of students, they're running around, they don't want to be here. So just imagine this in the remote learning environment, especially when it's new to our kids too. So they may not have had access to this before or done remote learning. But the great thing is, as you know, Classcraft is here to help. So our platform is the perfect way to help your students get motivated, engaged, and it doesn't matter if they're in class or they're out of class, or if they're working in their PJs. Our platform is really set up for that. And basically, it's keeping students engaged in a remote learning environment, which of course is challenging when they're not online, when they're not in front of you, when they're not, in your face. Because Classcraft understands what you're going through, we basically jumped right in and took action. And we took action by giving you guys a couple of tools to do. So in light, of course, of the Corona's breakout, we do have 2 different types of access. That is the free school-wide access, and we have that from now until July 31st, 2020. And then if you've already had Classcraft and you've had a free account, we went ahead and upgrade your free account into a premium account. So you now have those premium single licenses as well. If you do not know about these and you just stumbled upon this webinar, I hope Hutch can throw in the link to our website, which gives you the Corona's information about what we're giving you. So while he's doing that, have something to say, Hutch?
Yep, I'm on it.
Okay. I thought I was going to say, what link are you talking about, Kinshasa?
What link would, no, just kidding.
So why is Classcraft doing this? Well, basically, like, not to be funny, is we are made for this. Like, honestly, we are made. Our platform is perfect for motivating your students. And like we say, no matter where they're at, we bring that engagement. We bring that intrinsic motivation as well. And why do we do that? Well, because we're kind of a game-based platform, like, game where we incorporate gamification. And if you know anything about any game ever played, even if you're not a gamer, which is okay, you should have seen this dance before. Has anybody seen this dance? Throw it in the chat. I'm sure you have. Hutch cannot do it. I can though. I can. So I won't do it. I did it at the last webinar, but I won't. I'm getting old and my knees hurt. So, but the funny thing is, a lot of people seen the dance, but a lot of people did not know the dance came from a game, which is Fortnite. So you've either kind of heard either one, but didn't put them together. I love talking about this, in our founder, Sean, says it best, where when these kids are doing this dance, like, they're not doing it to win the game. They don't get points for doing this dance. They're doing it because it's their culture now. This is like us when we went to the movie theater, or I like the example given of Michael Jackson. When Michael Jackson used to come out with a new video, it was an event, right? And for 30 days or so, you would walk around doing those moves. So that's like our age, but this is their age. So this is where they're at with games. And it's current. Video games are one of the most prevalent culture today. If you look at this chart right here, they're comparing video games to other industries like film and media. And that's what I think of. So I think of, entertaining, going to the movies, or entertaining, buying my music or listening to music. But as you see, those two industries don't really stand a chance against video games. And this is nothing new. Like, the video game boom, happened around 2001, and that was 20 years ago. So this is a phenomenon that has been picking up steam, like, over the last decades, on and on and on. And in 2009, like, video games alone were equal to both music and film combined, and then of course they shot it over. But when you think about the ages of the kids that we're teaching, this is their life. This is all they know. Games are their culture. To us, games was a boom or an event, in the 80s, when I, got my Atari, and not everybody even had it. You were like cool on the block if you had your Atari or your Commodore. I'm not telling my age. But this is all they know. They do not know a world without video games being the norm. And it's for good reason too, because games are incredibly effective at internalizing motivation. You want to play or do this thing for these points or for this level. And when you think about this, a lot of our educators think, oh, that's just kids. However, I know a lot of you guys have that Starbucks app on your cell phone. It's kind of, right, that same kind of concept of that, that gamifying something, what you're just, spending your own money. And why? Because games basically hit these core concepts you see. That's autonomy, meaning, and competency. And playing, it also fulfills those emotional needs. And so what if we took these gaming principles and then we brought them into education? Well, then you get that same excitement that you have for Fortnite, those same dances, that same love, that same engaging, that same need to buy a caramel macchiato to get those 50 stars. And suddenly school is that cool, and it becomes something that your kids want to be. And again, we're not doing anything new, meaning this is not changing the way you teach. This is not changing your lessons. This is not changing the skills that the students are learning. What we're simply doing is keeping that same concept and just taking those lessons that you already have, that you're already awesome with, and just putting a little layer, I guess, over it. So Classcraft makes your great teaching even better by adding that motivating cultural power of games and of storytelling. And we'll get into that later. So I did a lot of talking already, and I'm going to pause and actually hop in the game because I want to make sure you guys know the basics of Classcraft. So before I do we have any questions that came up just based off those little, that little overview? While you're adding your questions or posting anything in chat, I'm gonna pause, come out of here, and go into the game that, of course, I already have set up for you. And someone just said, laugh out loud, I know your age. You do not, Christy. Yeah, you do. Okay, so when you log into Classcraft, this is what it looks like, okay? This is your teacher dashboard, all right? And with your teacher dashboard, you're able to make classes. Think of this just like you were inside the classroom. Think of this as like the sections that you teach or the classes that you teach. You know, if you are a lower elementary and you really only see about 20, 30 kids, you know, all day, then there would just be one class. If you're upper elementary or middle school or high school and you teach different sections, think of those classes like that. So you'll have a new class for each section. Even if you do homeroom, if you guys still do that with remote learning. Believe it or not, my school does. They are really big on making this transition really smooth for the kids and trying to keep everything, that ritual or the agenda, their schedule, trying to keep it the same. So I would say we keep kids engaged in different types of motivational components with Classcraft. Basically, there's so many ways to get your students engaged and excited. And if I go into a class, the first way, and the way we talk about first, is the form of points. So whatever behaviors, whatever concepts, whatever academic things you're trying to teach your students or they're trying to learn, you can do that in the form of points. And by giving these points, it gets the kids, again, engaged. It allows them to do things like level up in the game. It allows them to do things like change their avatar, change their whole look. Don't worry, I'll go into that in a second. Even allows them to access powers and get like real life decisions over what they can do in the world, like real life rewards. But here at Classcraft, we try to make it really easy for you. So we've even set up some remote learning behaviors for you. Things like showing up for a video lesson on time. Of course, they're not coming in your class anymore, so making sure they log on to Zoom or they log on to whatever platform you're using. Participating in forums or discussions if you have that. So think of this as the things you want to reinforce with your students. And it's very easy to reinforce it. You simply, let me do that one more time, find your student, click on that little XP button, those are points you're giving them, and press it right here. And all of a sudden, she now has 100 points. And you can do that with your gold pieces too. Here you see we kind of integrate the ISTE standards with our gold pieces. We think it's really important to make sure that our students still have that, that digital norm as well, making sure they're being good digital citizenships. So when or if, I think at the end, we send you these settings, because we did all this work for you, you'll have these, okay? And by giving points, you can give points to individual students. You can give points to a team. Let me show you a better view of teams real quick. Switch over to a new class. There we go. And you can give points to the entire class. So this class, nobody set up, so I can't do that class. But if the entire class was set up, you can simply click on everyone and give points to everyone in your class. Now, why are points important? Well, basically, they help you as the teacher, visualize that progression in your classroom. So you're not seeing the students, you're not with them every day, so you can still visualize their learning. And of course, for the kids, they just get some really cool intrinsic motivating things to do. One of those is the ability to change every aspect of their avatar, from their head to their chest plate, to the powers that they wield, to their pet. Yes, that is a pet. Believe it or not, it's a, I don't know what kind of pet that is, but that is the type of pet we have. Students also have the ability to earn powers as they level up. Powers are very motivating, especially in a remote classroom too. Think of powers as things they can do in real life by earning, points in the game. So when you think remote, think of maybe they can, it's up to you, it's customizable, teachers, but maybe they can skip a video lesson. A power can be sleeping in late. A power can be coming to a video lesson in their pajamas. I don't know, Hutch, throw some in if you have some more. But students are able to earn these powers as well. Oh, I see you, Hutch. Did you have some better powers for me?
Yeah, well, did you say the classic homework pass? You could get like skip a night homework, or you can have an extra, if you have a timed situation where kids have to turn something in like at 8 a.m., they could have a power where they could turn it in at 9 a.m. and not get a late penalty.
Yeah. Thanks, Hutch. You're awesome. And again, we have this all set up for you. So all you have to do is click on the link when we send it, and import that to your class as well. And now it's really more important than ever that our students really adopt these attitudes and adopt these behaviors that's going to help them stay focused, stay self-motivated and engaged in these remote learning. Unfortunately, again, they're not sitting in the seats with you, so you can't make sure they're focused or make sure they're paying attention. They're at home. But by giving powers and giving powers as it happened and giving powers every day, you're encouraging things like, showing up to a video lesson on time, or writing a detailed discussion post. Simply clicking on a button and sending that power, it basically gives them like a virtual high five. And these are just a few things, and you can incentivize Classcraft with all types of different behaviors. Again, like try aligning them with your curriculum, your PBIS matrix if you still have that. It's whatever behaviors you want them to, reinforce. And when you're doing it, do it consistently. I had a great meeting this morning, and the question is, well, I want to make sure I balance it. I want to make sure that I don't give them too much. And I always say, yes, there's a such thing as too much, but when you first get your students into Classcraft, I need you to get your inner Oprah, okay? I need you to give powers away, like they're new cars. You get powers, you get powers, you get powers. What it does is it gets your students excited, and it gives them that buy-in. So, give them powers for showing up on time. Give them powers for, speaking or giving a good answer over a video remote. Give them powers, for whatever you want to reinforce, and do it a lot, especially when you're first signing on. There are 18 levels to Classcraft. So believe it or not, we're kind of at the end of the year. There's really no way, well, there is, but there's not a real way that you can, give them too much. So another thing that I really love about Classcraft, and is such a powerful feature, is these teams. Now, when you think of Classcraft and you think of teams, you usually think of like project teams and your kids sitting together and things like that. However, we kind of start off with that, with Classcraft, and having students play together as a team. And this allows them to take on more of like a collaborative role. And students, I believe, again, they need that more than ever, because if they're the only child, they can be really isolated in their house. And when you're thinking about these teams, also think about these characters too. I didn't go over the characters heavy because we send you resources after this, but there's 3 different characters in Classcraft. And those characters are a healer, a mage, and a warrior. So even though it's virtual, when you're setting these teams up, you're going to want at least 3 people on a team. Depending on the numbers, I always say about 4 to 5 is a good. But when you're introducing this to students, and I'll show you that too, make sure they understand that there has to be at least one of each character on a team. And this basically really just helps them work together. They have to help each other, maybe like on homework assignments, help each other maybe with, hosting a video lesson or something. And again, this is really perfect for a remote solution because having students in team really makes them feel less isolated. You can even maybe do breakout sessions in Zoom if you have Zoom, and you can have the teams, meet on a collaborative virtual project as well. So again, we'll send you more information, but when you log in and look at that, you can look at the different warriors. And here's just an example again, a mage, a healer, and a warrior. Now, there's more to this, more exciting features. I'm gonna keep going and go on to our next feature, which is the class tools. Now, class tools is a great way to basically kind of get our students excited about all aspects of the classroom, not just, the behavior or the academic, from timers to stopwatch to everything you can do with class tools, to formative assessment with our boss battles. Of course, I don't have time to show you everything, so I'm going to pick my 2 favorite for the remote setting. So compared to real life classroom, routines, they're important, and they're even more important in a remote setting. And this is especially true in a situation where distractions are everywhere. You're not seeing these kids face to face. So, you could give them a lesson and the TV's on. Or they do have a sibling sitting next to them, and maybe the sibling is watching a video for their classroom and the other one can't focus. So there's tons of distractions. And again, more than ever, our students, they need this added structure to stay on task and remain engaged in instructional activities. And one of the best ways and fun ways to make this happen is with our random events. So you can start a video lesson with a random event, and random events are exactly what they are, random. They can be silly, they can be fun, they can affect one student, and they can affect the whole class. It is, what we just said it is, it's random. But just imagine starting a video lesson with random events and getting everyone on that same page or that same event during the day with the students. Having that ability to have fun during their participation, during these group activities, that's really going to help. It's really going to want them to log on time too. But it's really going to help kind of make things fun, especially in the world we are living in right now, where there's a lot of anticipation. There's a lot of uncertainty in the world. So we want to make sure, our students they're very smart, no matter what age they are, whether you're teaching, kindergartens or you're teaching college students, we're all aware of what's going on. And to me, it's very important to make sure we still have these fun activities. So all that talking, right? All I have to do is click on see event and see what the random event is. Now, I'm going to blame Hutch if it's not a good one, because he set them up. But if it's a good one,
I'm okay with that.
Hutch, can I get a drum roll, please?
Brrr.
Random event is a stranger arrived in your town. One random team. You do not know what language they speak. Try to say hello in at least 5 different languages to gain 200 XP. So when you press next, it actually selects the team for you. And then maybe you can have them like in 2 minutes, type in, hello in 5 different languages in the chat of Zoom or in Google Hangouts, or submit it in the discussion post, see if they can do it. And I say in 2 seconds, I know that's not, real life, but remember, the kids have the internet and the computer right in front of them. So also with random events, we do everything for you. So if they got that right, you can simply go in, find that team and give them points. I'm just gonna act like they did. Let's just say it was this team, we're gonna say, Carol wasn't here, she's absent. So I'm giving everybody else points, bam. All right. So we're going to go back to class tools, and that's just one class tool. Again, we don't have time to go into all of them, but if I was to pick my second favorite, it would have to be Kudos. So Kudos is one of our newest features, and we came out with it around January, and it became one of like the top feature in Classcraft. Like we've had over like 36,000 kudos in like 3 weeks. It's crazy. And again, in this physical space, when you're seeing each other, it's easier to say things like, hey Hutch, I love that jacket you're wearing today, or things like that. And since we don't have, that physical space anymore, again, that need to connect and to relate to each other, it remains apparent, if not, that need is needed more than ever. And Kudos is exactly what it says. Someone was talking about me the other day in my accent. So make sure it's Kudos. I guess that Connecticut comes out of me. But think of Kudos as the best way for your students to celebrate each other. The best way for your students to give each other high fives or virtual high fives and celebrate each other's wins. So with Kudos, like they encourage and engage each other. And of course, it's like great to have, let me show you another class other than the demo. It's great to have your teacher recognize you. It's great to have a minister recognize you, but it's even more powerful to have another student, say something. And this again is our demo account. But when you open up Kudos to your classroom, it is crazy. Your students will love helping each other. They will love giving those extra, those motivating high five moments. And as a teacher, my really favorite part is this present button right here. If I click on present Kudos, I'm going to say all time just for now because our demo account only has 2. You can actually get a real live look at Kudos. And so try doing something at the end of the week, like maybe every Friday afternoon. All the kids come on to a video call and we all review Kudos together. And make it fun, have the kids clapping and woohoo, and maybe the person who gets the Kudos, have them stand up and take a bow or things. The more excited you get, the more excited your students get. But again, Kudos is great when, especially in this time where we really need to encourage each other. As a teacher, here's your Kudos wall, and your students see that as well. But you have an inbox for your Kudos, and you can approve Kudos, so you don't have to have them going straight to the wall. You can look at them, read them, and say, okay, yeah, I like this, let's go ahead and approve. Or I'm going to request they change it because I'm an English teacher and I want to make sure that they're using, their punctuation and, an ELA class or so on and so forth. But once you approve your Kudos, I'm going to go ahead and approve both of these. You can see it on the wall as well, and the students can see it. So I'm going to say publish to the wall. And I know I have one waiting, but I just want you to see that waiting. And there we go. Now we have 3 Kudos. So maybe try telling the students, Monday through Thursday, try to give out at least 1 Kudo a day. On Fridays, we're going to encourage each other by reviewing all of the Kudos. But again, think of these as just virtual high fives that your students can really identify with, because it's coming from their peers, and they're really meaningful small notes that really get them fired up. And you'll see that they'll log in for this Friday session, you know, just for the Kudos review. All right. So I am going to keep going down our side panel here, and I'm going to go down to Quest. So remember, that was class tools. We have other class tools, but I don't have time to show you all of them. So we're going to hit on what makes our platform the best thing for remote learning, and that is Quest. Let's move this over so you can see that. First, before I go in, I'm going to do a quick 2-second high-level overview of Quest. Hutch does a Quest webinar every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Hutch, I don't know if you have this on hand, but if you can throw that into the chat as well, that webinar. Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I like this, you know, telling you what to do thing, you know?
Seems like it's the normal thing, though. It doesn't seem different than usual.
I can't with you. So when you think of Quest, you know, they're perfect for remote learning. And in Quest, every point on this map, when it comes up, you know, speed of the internet, is a learning activity. So think of these learning activities as anything. It can be digital activities like watch a movie, you know, look at the introduction and watch a movie, or upload something from Google Docs, or, you know, embed it to your Google Classroom account. Or it can be non-digital, or, you know, it can just be, you know, we sent you a worksheet, fill that worksheet out and send it back to the teacher. Or it can be something as simple as read chapters 4 through 3 before the next session. So quests are your lessons, exactly what you teach, and they take on a digital form, okay? So it's the same thing you're teaching today, but now you're kind of adding this awesome digital form to it, but that's not it. You're also adding this awesome storyline. So when you're adding the storyline, you're adding a narrative to the quest. And Hutch, let me know if I'm going too far. I know I don't want to take away from any of your Thursday session.
No, this is great. You're fine.
Okay. Okay. So you're also adding a storyline to the quest too. So I like to say, so when kids are taking quests, they're not just, you know, learning about money, and they're not just learning how to use the calculator. They're not just learning the states of matter or fractions, whatever you teach, but now they're going through a cave while learning about it. They're trying to save the princess while learning about solid, liquid, and gas, or they're trying to save the world while learning fractions. Save the world. Maybe that wasn't the best. Maybe that wasn't the best example for the time that we're living in now. Only kidding.
Too soon.
Too soon. Okay, too soon. My bad. Too soon. But again, with Quest, very simple. You can simply just add your content right there into the Quest. We also, of course, have awesome features for you, because it's not just about that task. But if I click on the overview, and don't worry, Hutch goes all through this, but you can also monitor the progress of your students, so you can see where they are in the Quest. You can allow your students to engage in discussions within Quest. You can create, let me show you, see if I get a good example of a quest here. You can create branching paths. So think of like that true differentiation, where some of your kids can go take this path, some of your students can take that path of the quest. Quest can be self-paced. So I'm just sending you the quest, and once you submit it and turn it in, we're good. Or, you know, some of the quests can be teacher paced. That means, you know, you're going to have to stop. I want to review what you did, or answer the questions, or grade your paper, or whatever before you go on. But again, so high level of requests, because we really don't have a lot of time. But I do have to show you one thing. Uh-oh, Wow, that was right there, but I clicked away from it. The great thing about these quests is you can access over 1,000 free quests. Teacher made, so straight from, was it for us, by us, so straight from teachers, and they're already set up for you. Simply search by keyword or search by grade, by subject, or even by standards, and you'll get a whole load of different quests. My favorite, I guess, Classcraft's favorites are the quests of the month. So every month we pick, the best and greatest quest out there, or that we have that so far, and we highlight it. So if you're starting off with quests very new, I would say go to the marketplace, look at some of these quests of the month, and go ahead and import them into your classroom. It's absolutely free. And check this out, guys. That's Hutch right there. Hutch is the only employee at Classcraft who has his own avatar.
Move along, move along.
I'm jealous, but we'll get over it. But when you click on these and you import them, you get everything the teacher has done. The great thing about them is when they're in their classroom, they're totally editable. Editable, meaning if maybe Hutch's lessons are a little bit too high end, above level, or maybe they're too below level for your kids, you can click in them and edit them. Okay. Again, I always talk about my favorite part of Quest are the stories. So I was a huge geek. I am, I guess. And when I was in the classroom, when I was teaching, it was no different. So my stories were crazy. I had storylines with, I would make my own pictures or GIFs. Sometimes I would record my voice in an accent, because I do the best accents, people. And I would embed it there so the kids can click on there and watch that. So I would include movies. I would make, I don't know, like animated movies with Powtoons as an intro to the lessons. I was a little crazy. Yes, we realize you may not have the time for all that, especially with learning a whole new different platform. So we have something called story mode for you. And again, Hutch will go into this on Thursday, but think of story mode as having a little Kinshasa by your side, making your quest for you. With story mode, we have quests that you can import into your classroom, and they have the story, the narrative, the illustrations made by our design team. So they're just awesome and gorgeous. And I think I have an example for you, but all you have to do I have an example? Let's go back to my library. Let's look at all my quests real quick. All you have to do, here's one, is put in your curriculum. So very easy. We bring you the narrative, we bring you the illustration, just like this. Here we go. And you just bring in your task, and that's it. And you already have your task, of course, because you've been teaching for years. You're an awesome teacher. And this remote learning thing is not going to do anything for you. You got that. So yeah, just, drop your task right in there, and it starts right away. So again, before Hutch kills me, I'm going to move on. So that was Quest. Last but not least on our sidebar is the messaging app. So messaging is exactly what it sounds like. That's the ability to message your students anything. So you have the access to message, the entire class, and students can message you. So the great thing is they can message you, especially if they have questions about their homework, or they have questions about the project. But they can't message each other, which I really like. I was really big on digital citizenship when I was in the classroom. So they can't message one another. However, they can message you, you can message them, and you can message the entire class. So this is great for saying, hey guys, get ready for virtual class in 2 minutes, or great class today, guys. Don't forget to give me your feedback on that video we watched in the Zoom lesson, things like that. When I was in the classroom, I used it a lot to get my kids on the same page. Like I would send them a link to a website that I needed the entire class to be on. So instead of like going, all right, guys, www dot, instead of doing all that, I just kind of put it in there. Again, if you have your own messaging system, if you guys are a, Google School and all your students have Gmail or something like that, it's okay. You do not have to switch over to messages. I hope my boss isn't listening to this, might get fired. But in this time, you don't want to introduce something new to your students. They're already learning a new platform. They're already learning a new way to learn. So it's okay not to use messaging. If your students are going to find it. If you do, though, it's great to have it in the game, though. Sometimes you want to just log into one thing, and it's awesome to just have that right there instead of having to be in Classcraft and then skip over the Gmail and so on and so forth. Also, what's great about messages is you can invite the parents. Yes. What? Yes. So this is Hutch's dad, Mr. Drew Hutchison. Not the most creative name, Hutch, but thank you.
Yeah, well.
So you're able, again, to, of course, this is just our demo class, but just imagine having all of your parents in there. You're able to send them messages. You're able to receive messages from the parents. And again, since we're not with our kids, and right now they are home with their parents, I think it's not our job, but it would definitely help if we, helped our parents out. So by sending them maybe some help on a task, or sending them a little bit of encouragement with the messages helps. Maybe sending over a sample agenda, introducing, this remote life to the parents, that would also help. Also, when students are invited to, when parents, I apologize, are invited to play, parents have the ability to give away gold pieces. Yes. So each night they can give away a certain amount of gold pieces, not a lot, but a certain amount. And they can use that to really try to get a good routine at the home too. So they can use it for work, their choice, or they can use it for, give them points for making up their bed in the morning, or doing chores, getting outside the house and running around the neighborhood one time and then coming back. Really help them promote working together too with this isolation, things like that. So that's also a very cool tool if you use our messaging system. All right, so Classcraft has a ton of great features, not a ton, but we have a lot of great features to really help you with the remote learning, really help you keep your students engaged, help you keep your students motivated. And that is, I would say, the most important thing right now is our students are at home. They're in front of Netflix, they're in front of Hulu, Disney, they're watching the new Star Wars movie that is now out on DVD, Amazon Prime, sorry. And there's so many other distractions going on in the world. So it's more important than ever for us to really help our students get engaged, get excited about doing the work, especially because they're not with us. So to that end, I'm going to take about 5 more minutes of your time, give you some quick tips for remote learning, and then we'll go into questions, all right? So if you have your questions, get them up there right away. And first things first is just remembering the point system. Set your points, or give out points, and set these remote behavior expectations. It helps them create a routine. It helps them, really focus. It gets them engaged as well. Make sure you're using some type of, it doesn't have to be random events. I don't know why it wouldn't be, because random events is just all that cool, but use some type of engagement maybe in the beginning of the day, something where all the students can do something collectively as a team together. That really is going to set the pace for the day. If you wake up in the morning and the first thing you do is see everyone in your class and you're doing something fun, it really leads to that positive work, or that positive engagement for the rest of the day. And these are some cool remote random events that we've come up up with, and we're gonna, of course, send this to you as well. If you have any more suggestions, throw them in chat as well. We have an awesome ambassador community, and I'm working on taking some of their suggestions and putting it in a nice format and sending that to our people as well. Use quests. They are very easy to create. Remember, you already teach the lessons. You already have these. So just plopping them into a quest and shooting them out to your students, it makes your lessons, you know, the same lessons that you've been teaching for however long you've been teaching, it just makes them more engaging. And again, that's why I say this is like one of my favorite parts of the platform. And I was using it, you know, way before, just because I didn't see my students a lot. And I loved giving them like the flip learning. So do something at home, come in and let's talk about it. And I was able to do that with Quest. Now I'm going to date myself a little bit. Christy, no chatting. You cannot chat right now. But when I think of Quest, I think of, do you remember WebQuest when that came out? Anybody? No? Anybody? Anybody? No? WebQuest, it was like just a website with like step-by-step. Dude, okay, forget it. All right, you guys don't know. You guys are young. There's a whole bunch of millennials on the call. But anyways, it's that same initial idea, you know, but Classcraft, of course, just like turns it up a notch, you know, by allowing the quest can be to be like story driven and allows that personalized learning journey, you know. As well as check out our marketplace, dive into story mode. We have all these tools set up for you already. No need to recreate the wheel, jump in, download something and shoot it out. Look at it, make sure it's right for your students and then send it out. That's the best way to get started right away with Quest. Use Kudos. Create a culture of kindness by celebrating kudos. Like that's so exciting and it'll drive that motivation. Don't forget to involve the parents if you want to. They can give away some GP and it's a great way to connect with them. You know, here are some other ideas to create, you know, good rituals for video chat as well. And for me, this is really bringing about that collective work. So these are ideas maybe you can do when you first get in the morning. And I got a lot of these ideas from our remote learning guide that we have for you. Hutch, I don't know if you can throw that in there too in the chat. But Classcraft has really, you know, taken a lot of time to, you know, do the research for you and make sure you guys can get started. So try doing like a morning yoga session or a morning meditation session. If you are a user of Calm app, I've been using Calm app for like 4 years. I love Calm. They have a whole resource website just for the coronavirus, you know, stage or age, sorry. And they have meditation, they have great information for our teachers. Try remote group lunches. We do that here with our group. So we're remote as well. As you see, Hutch is in Florida, I'm in Atlanta. And sometimes we'll, you know, start lunch a little late. We'll go out, we'll get our food, we'll bring it back into the office and we'll eat together and just chat. Take some time, maybe listening to some music or sharing out good music, especially with these youngins. They need to know that, you know, Billy D. Williams and Michael Jackson and, you know, Quincy Jones, all these people exist. And it wasn't all this bebop and hip hop and all this, you know, get off my porch music, you know, back in the day. So try to share something with them and then have them share something with you as well. And then allow students, if you can, maybe to host meetings with each other. Now, this is actually an add-on for a meeting this morning with Natalia. And she was saying she teaches band and she would love the different sections to meet up even without her. Take a screenshot or videotape it with Zoom and send it to her. And she's actually giving out points for them having meetups outside of the meetups that Natalia already has. So great job. I'm using that. I'm going to use it every day. And then on the next call that you're not on, I'm going to say I came up with that idea. So anything you need, Classcraft is always here to help you. We want to make sure you are successful. Because at the end of the day, we are basically in charge of the next generation, you know? So it's our kind of our job to continue this learning and to continue it even in the uncertainty times of today. So I did a ton of talking there, guys. Sorry, I know I dove in very fast, but I am going to stop and I'm going to go ahead and refer to Hutch right now and say, Hutch, are there any great questions in the Q&A? Did you see any great chats that you want to say out loud, or did someone have a great aha moment? Aha, aha. 500 points for the person who tells me what movie that came from. Not you, Hutch.
Yes, we've got a good question for you, Kinshasa. I think you can help out with right now. Fanti Mark is asking, what was the website that you mentioned? Love something?
The Calm app, C-A-L-M. Was that it, Fanti? Let me know. But if it was Calm, yeah, Calm is a meditation app. And I found it a couple of years ago because I don't sleep well at all. And believe it or not, my sleep doctor said use it because they have meditation. They have like sleep stories, but they are way more than sleep stories. They have everything. So Fancy, if that's it, I think I was saying, oh, that was it? I did it? Okay, yeah.
That's it.
That's it, yeah, Calm.
I love the Calm app too. I use it all the time.
Yes. Definitely jump into that. And as you know, there's a ton of other companies doing a lot of resources for you as well. So if you didn't have access to, I don't know, Google Apps for Education, they are providing apps, access to things like that for free too. I believe Zoom has lowered their prices. Don't make me lie. I believe, you know, other platforms are free. Sorry. Go ahead, Hutch.
Shasa, we've got Ronald Drummond. He is dropping in the chat, coming to America.
Ronald, 500 points!
And then we had an anonymous attendee in the Q&A say, Eddie Murphy.
Nice, anonymous even knows the person. If you do not know where that comes from, I need your homework for tonight is to go home and watch Coming to America. They're coming out with a second one too. Isn't that crazy? I actually don't want it. You're gonna ruin my childhood. Don't give me that.
I love how Eddie Murphy has come back into play. I think he's like come out of retirement a little bit here. This is great. Hey, we got another question. We got Andy Plank asking, with upper level students, there is going to need to be a more asynchronous structure, in his opinion. Is there some best practices for this type?
So excellent. So remember, Classcraft is just the platform. And when you're talking about quests, it's your choice. You can make quests self-paced, where the kids are doing it on their own time. Maybe they're checking in with you just to make sure if they don't understand an assignment or something, or maybe you have 5 tasks in a quest open, and then maybe one where everyone stops and checks in. Or it could be teacher pace, whereas, you know, you're teaching a lesson and then they're doing that task in a quest. Then maybe you're having another video chat and teaching a lesson and then they're completing another task in a quest. The great thing about Classcraft is it's totally customizable and it can work with however you teach. I was a technology teacher at my old school. So I was the director. I taught my teachers how to integrate technology successfully. And I also taught in the computer lab. My biggest problem was I saw my kids once a week for 40 minutes. It took them about 10 minutes to get ready and get down to my lab, and it took them about 10 more minutes to settle down and close up and clean up and get out. So I really only had them for like, I don't know, 30 minutes at most. And by the time I saw them the next day, or the next week, sorry, they had lost everything that I taught. So when Quest first came out with Classcraft, it was such like the aha moment for me. And what I did is I opened my classroom with going over the quest, just giving them a overview, providing them room to ask questions as a group. And then they actually took the week to complete the quest self-paced without me. And I linked my quest to Google Classroom. I don't know if you guys have Google Classroom. And again, Hutch will go into that. And Hutch, please, you are the quest game master. So if you have better examples, please go ahead and join in.
Great.
but yeah, that was the best way for me to do it. And that's like kind of that blended learning slash flip learning type way. So when you think about Classcraft, don't think of it as anything, it's structured, but don't think of it something as something that you can't change. You can develop it to work how you teach, or in the mode that you need right now.
Yes, and I just dropped into the chat some links to helpful Quest resources, and this Thursday the entire webinar will be about using Quests. And we have another question asking, can you send your entire class roster of 100 kids into one giant Quest and just send each class on a separate class path rather than setting up 5 different classrooms? And if you'd like, Conchasa, I can answer this one.
Go for it, Hutch.
Okay, so
Open up that video. Let's see your beautiful face.
Oh my goodness. Alrighty then, here we go. Okay, so the idea here is that there is a progress center when you're in your teacher account, and it is a one-stop shop for everything that's going on in all of your classes. So it's probably best if you have, like, I'm assuming if we have 100 kids on your roster, which I usually had in my school years, is that I'd have like maybe 5 classes of 20 kids. I would go ahead and set up all 5 classes. It's just better organization for you, because you are not going to have to like individually pop into a quest, pop out, and then go over here and pop in another class. You can go into a progress center. It's going to show you all of the things that your students in all of your classes have done in your 5 classes. And you can also just send that, you can use the same quest and you can just assign it to each of your 5 classes. It's going to be a little bit better, actually easier to organize and run. So that is my that's my recommendation. What do you think, Conchasa?
No, that's perfect. I love that. I was going to take over the next question, which is awesome. Whoever you are, anonymous, that is a great question. And I want to actually show that, because I totally forgot to say that. When you have an account, you have access to a demo class. So I know I'm kind of going adjacent here, but I'm going to answer the question. When you first log on to Classcraft, before you create your class, feel free to jump into that demo class. Play around with giving points, play around with taking away points, play around with powers, just to get used to it and explore it. What you can also do in the demo class is you can view the quest that you make or the quest that you download, or just view how the student side of Classcraft looks. And when you do that, you're going to see this cool little pop-up. When a student first logs into Classcraft, we actually set them up with a intro quest, and that's how they can learn how to play Classcraft. So great question. It's pre-made. It gives them points as well. So be careful if you don't like giving points. It does give them like a certain amount of gold pieces, but it walks them step by step on how to play Classcraft. Also, I'm going to come out of my student mode, go back into the teacher dashboard, and show you one more thing. Once you've created your class, there are 3 dots on the end of each class. And when you click on that, you're going to see something called the introducer. Yes, I understand you're not in front of your class, but this is still a great way to introduce Classcraft. Again, getting set up without thinking you have to know everything about the platform to start. Nope, we do everything for you. So if you are on a Zoom call, go ahead and share your screen, play this video for the kids. It gets them pumped and excited about Classcraft. Here's a little quick overview of it again to help you with your talking points. We go over each of the characters. So you don't even have to, know 100% about that. You can just simply read it right here or have them read it. And then it goes over the teams. And then my suggestion is you place your students in teams and then allow them to choose their character. So we have that entire thing set up for you, and I'll send that as a resource, again, in a class, clicking those 3 dots and clicking on Introducer. one more thing, just want to show you how easy it is to make a class too. To create a class, just click on the new class button. We're going to do classic mode. Name your class, give it a grade, give it a subject, and we even have the behavior set up for you. So you can choose some of the behaviors, or remember, Hutch sent you that link. So you can also choose the remote setting behaviors that we sent that to you. Oh, I did not do that. Remote setting. Press next and it is all ready to go. We even have a little step-by-step onboarding for you to make sure you're doing the right things in the right order. And then if you really need Kinshasa or Hutch again, on the side, you see this little question mark right here. Click on that question mark and you have a ton of tutorials and videos and links to help you get started as well. It gives you tasks to complete through each link. It walks you through the different parts of your dashboard, so on and so forth. Of course, I won't go into that, but so yeah, we've definitely made it easy for you. Great job, Anonymous. Does it integrate with Edpuzzle? Excellent question, Rachel. The great thing, again, about Classcraft is you can kind of embed anything you want into Classcraft simply by adding a link. Hutch, am I taking over?
Hey, you're good. You're good. Go for it.
Okay, so you gave me the look, man. I was like,
I'm typing like a mad fiend over here,
okay.
trying to stay up, and I just answered it. But you're going to give a much better answer. By
No, not at all. Go ahead, Hutch. Take over.
Oh, the idea is that go ahead and click on a quest objective, like a normal one with the tasks and the story tab. See the task tab there? Yeah. So you see all of the options for putting different things into the text box right there. I used Edpuzzle all the time. I like to try to flip my classroom, and now classrooms are kind of permanently flipped for many of us for the rest of the school year. So yes, you can totally just put your Edpuzzle link right in there and the kids can click on it. YouTube videos, if you're not going to go with the full like Edpuzzle, but you're just going to show a YouTube video for notes or something, you can actually copy and paste the YouTube video share link and it will embed right there in the task automatically. And then students don't have to leave Classcraft to go to YouTube to watch it. It'll just already show up right there in the text box. It's pretty sweet. Yep.
And remember, Hutch is going to go through all of that in his quest session on Thursday, this Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's like I'm selling something. Thursday. Someday. Any more questions? I think we got all of them.
Hey. Sweet.
All right, guys. Well, it is 3:04 and we are out of time. So remember, in about a day or two, I apologize, about a day or two, we're going to send you this video again. And we're also going to send you some more resources, so everything we said, we're going to have those and some nice tutorials. We have some video links. Hutch himself are working to pump out even new video tutorials for you just for the remote learning, the remote learning platform.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us, guys, and great job doing what you do out there. We love you. We support you. We are here for you. We did what you do. We still do what you do, and it's hard for an educator. So we just want to make sure to let you know, like, we're here for you, okay? We understand. We got your back. All right?
That's right.
Thanks, guys.